Your dungeon master has placed you in a dreadfully precarious position.
Dungeon master and dwarven sword master, hobgoblins, dwarves, elves, and halflings are some of the characters and terms used in this very complicated and controversial game.
You're playing the most phenomenal game ever created.
All right, what's up, everyone? We're just going to get right into it. Another week. We got some interesting things to talk about. Joined, as usual, with Victor. What's up, Vic?
Hoi iedereen.
We got Greg from Chronicles of Iris.
Rawr.
And we got Aaron.
What up?
You got you made me ruin Aaron's introduction.
I got it.
Thanks a lot, Thunder Stealer.
Yeah, you made me ruin Aaron's introduction. So we got Aaron from Immortal Rising, indie comics. And, you kind of dip your toes. You play games and stuff like that too. And I've been on your show a couple of times. So
yeah.
he's got a Kickstarter coming. He just sent the link to me here on Indiegogo.
Thanks a lot for having me on, by the way. And it's so cool. It's like getting the old group back together. This is fun. It's good seeing you guys.
Yeah, it's been a while. Let's see. Let me copy this here. I have to because I'm streaming to a bunch of different places. There's that. I'm gonna put this stuff on.
You're like big time now.
Well, I'm just streaming on X and on YouTube, but
Oh no, he's big time in everyone with that gilded
Yeah.
cult of his.
oh, it's true. I am technically apparently a cult leader. So
Sweet. Dude, that's so cool. I want to be a cult leader.
Greg and me are his acolytes, but we forgot to bring our robes and our,
yeah.
Wait.
sacrificial daggers.
Does that mean you have to have sex with our women too?
Nah,
I have to tap out on that one.
nah, it's all good.
Like those.
It's a total sausage fest, and usually on the Gilded server. So
Yeah, it gets weird.
Yeah, we got a lot of people in chat. I think I saw Guard Bro in chat. He messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm gonna actually be able to see. Hey, what's up? What's up, Guard Bro?
What up?
Is that
I
the
got
Victor
the-
Gorchev?
The Victor, yeah.
I got teabagged.
Oh man! All right, and we got a super chat here from Matt from Paladin. There is no curse in Elvish, Entish, or the tongues of men for this treachery.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And there was another thing up here I wanted to thank Jack McCarthy. Thanks for becoming a channel member. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting last few days. The Shadowdark hate kind of resurfaced, and I've just kind of been annoyed by it. And as many know, I'm on my villain arc right now, being mean to people online. Usually people that deserve it. So I'm not actually being mean. Someone else kind of said oh, it's more like an anti-hero arc than a.
There
than
you
a
go.
villain arc. But
There's nothing wrong with a little righteous indignation. You know what I mean?
exactly, and especially when you've kind of remained quiet for a while, and you watch these people kind of jab at you continually, jab at other people that you think are cool and nice people, and you just kind of get sick of it. So you sort of just are like, all right, they want to play this way, they want this attention, I'm going to give it to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I'm just sort of tired of seeing that because what I see going on against Kelsey at Shadowdark and against other creators too is this sort of this sort of purity testing, and I think it's a part of personally, and I get where it's coming from, but I think it's partly personally because of the culture war has caused sort of it's caused brain rot on the left side for a while. And I think we're just because the right is always a little behind what the left is doing. we're seeing that brain rot start to get over here on the right, and it's like,
well, I think some of it is like the pendulum swing, right? And so some on the right are starting to feel like, oh, we're starting to have more power in our words and stuff like that. Whether or not that's true, I don't know, but I think that's causing more of them just to kind of like come out and be bitchy, whiny kind of guys. And it's like, wait a minute, guys, just keep it together. Let's follow this swing through, and we'll be on the other side.
Yeah, and it just comes across as petty. It's kind of started, I think, because of Venger's blog post. So a while back, and you know what, I'm just going to share it now because it kind of provides context, I think, to everything that's going on right now. But on the RPG Pundit's website, people might be able to see this. I might try and zoom in here so that people can read this better. So, this is back in 2023 at the start. And as many know, like Pundit did said lots of terrible things to Kelsey at the time that I think were unwarranted. Accused her of stealing mechanics, all kinds of stuff. And she's like, I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who you are. I've never read any of your books or games. But he says, does anyone know anything about Kelsey Dion and the Arcane Library? I mean, I only just heard of her Shadowdark book at all today, when I was also in very short order learned it uses a system very similar to Lion and Dragon's background, XP, and especially level benefits, random table system, which he's not the first person to invent random tables. I think Zach Smith used them in a supplement a while back.
I think it was Random Pleasant Land somebody mentioned. He used like the random level ups or something.
Mm-hmm. And arguably, you could say back in 1977 with Traveler during character creation, you're essentially like going through the early levels of your character, and you're essentially getting a named character in what would be equivalent to a named character at the end of that, at the end of character creation. And lo and behold, Traveler uses random rolls to determine skills and benefits and all those sorts of things. Anyways, and he says, and that she paid Dungeon Craft and Questing Beast to do infomercials disguised as reviews. Questing Beast at least had the courtesy to say so right at the start of the video, but I know nothing about political alignment. So this is what I'm talking about, where like there's this brain rot here. And so this was back in a while ago, and last year, and it just resurfaced recently because Venger said his goodbyes, which I was sympathetic to at first, but it lost my sympathy when he said the Shadowdarkening or whatever of the hobby, and that sort of brought up a bunch of people that are fans of Venger that are saying like, this is this is all kind of Shadowdark's fault. There were people on you can go to my feed on X, and I've quote tweeted people, shown receipts of this, but people saying that like Shadowdark has sucked the oxygen out of the OSR in the room, and now everyone's failing, and it's Kelsey's fault. It's Shadowdark's fault, and I just don't. I just don't believe in the zero-sum game concept.
Well, I've got a question. What is their argument for it being Kelsey's fault? Which I want to say off the bat, I tried getting her on my show before her project really kicked off and was real big, and I never got a return message. So fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. So what's their argument? Like, what are they trying to say that she could possibly be responsible for them not making sales?
Basically, that she astroturfed her whole popularity. That she paid YouTubers to like promote her game, and that's the only reason she got big. And basically, that I don't know. I think the accusation is basically that she's good at marketing, because even if that's all true, who cares? That's called marketing.
Yeah.
If I had the money to do that, guess what, motherfuckers? I would do the same thing. Sorry.
All right.
I'll be laughing at your complaints while I'm like sitting in my mansion. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good. I have some super chats here I want to get to. Off topic, but Charles Prouty, thank you for the $10. Any suggestions for someone hunting an editor? Are you saying that you're an editor? If so, you can message me. I'll gladly retweet you on X or whatever. I'm not currently looking for an editor, but I'd be happy to.
Yeah,
if you do good work.
Grammarly's my editor.
Yeah. Do you have examples of your work? That's a good one.
Or if you're looking for an editor, I'm not sure, but I'd be happy to point you in the right direction either way. for whatever it is you're looking for. And then Dark Knight of Hibernia says, I have no love for 5e, but I bear no ill will for any who play it. If they enjoy it, and God bless them, I just want to play games that interest me. Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to.
No, remember everybody into 5e is like a PDF file, and you know, they're gonna corrupt your children and all this stuff, and they're all Nazis. I don't know. Wasn't that the whole the narrative last year? Like,
I'm apparently Goebbels, and also I don't know who sock this is. Commandant VHS. I don't know who you actually are. I've never seen you before in my channel. I don't know whose sock account you are, but you can fuck off. So bye.
Banned.
I'm very
Imagine how far I'd get if I told all the reviewers, hey, I want you to review my book, but you have to pay for it and then I'll send it to you. Yeah, that'll get me real fucking far, wouldn't it?
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like you give your book to reviewers to review. That's what they do, and like it's just part of this whole industry. Like, why is that bad?
Yeah. I think it comes down to a lot of jealousy, and I think that it's a common human condition thing to kind of look at someone else who's being very successful, and someone else that kind of seems like they came out of nowhere, and I think that's what a lot of these people feel like, because Kelsey came from the 5e sphere. She was an adventure writer, from what I understand. Vic, I don't know, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, she was writing 5e adventures for like a decade before she even started with Shadowdark, and that's where a lot of her popularity came from. She was already well acquainted with all these YouTubers, with like the 5e sphere as a whole, which, you know, is way more massive than the OSR. Sorry,
people didn't even know she was a woman for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She had like a Samus Aran type of thing moment when she did the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
that's pretty hot. So then what? Her personality kind of sold the deal, or started doing shows, or
no? She's a super nice person, and I'll say this too. Like, you know, I can be kind of spicy at times. I hold views that are like not in line with you know, what's on the left or anything, and apparently what's on the right as well.
Yeah.
These days, apparently, you have to pick a side, and you can't just have your own principles that you think are correct. But she had people on her Discord server come after me, and they were talking. They were saying, I think it was it during my Kickstarter? I don't remember what it was, because or a little after,
right before, or maybe after. Yeah,
I think it was the second time, because the first time Pundit tried to cancel me and was calling me a Nazi. That was
sorry.
It's all good. That was before the Kickstarter. The second time, when he lied and said that Mr. Max is my regular co-host on this stream, which he's never appeared here before, and he never corrected the record on that. But I think that was when it was because his comments, his accusations against me, had reached all the way to her Discord server. So it like crossed boundaries, right? Like his libel, his slander of me that I'm this evil Yahtzee, went from his little, you know, incestuous circle of people, and it reached all the way to her Discord server.
Wait, you're not? All right, that's it. I'm out of here. Forget it.
not even just a Discord server, because after that I talked to her like a bunch personally on Discord, like in private messages, and it even got so far as her like immediate circle of like creative friends and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, people think it was just like a little spat between us and Pundit, but that actually had pretty far-reaching consequences. And I've always said the only reason that it didn't really hurt us is because people don't really like Pundit. Sorry. So
if Pundit was more likable, it would have been actually probably really damaging.
Yeah, exactly.
Thankfully, he's just an egotistical narcissist. So
I tried watching him after, like, right before you guys were kind of into it, getting into it last summer or whatever, beginning of last summer or spring. And I was trying to watch his shows, and I'm like, I don't understand why this guy's so popular. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to shit on him now or nothing.
He's not popular. That's the thing. It's all
people listen to him for some reason.
We've got a couple super chats there.
Yeah, we got a couple super chats here. Let's get these here. We got one from Bear. Thank you, Bear.
Hey, Bear.
Bear's a cool guy. Kelsey makes a product for mostly all ages, not edgelord fringe content, and her success is bad. WTF. Also, when hunting editors, aim for the thorax. If anyone, Charles, if you can find me on X too, just thinking of the editor thing, if you could find me on X at the Basic Expert one, number one, you can DM me or something like that, and we'll talk if you need help. But so thank you for the $5 Canadian spare.
Almost dollars.
Diversity and Dragons. Kelsey is incredibly nice. Met her at Gen Con. She talked to my wife and daughter, very professional.
Yeah.
She's super nice.
Yeah.
She's
What's up,
a
DD?
super nice person.
If
I'll
only
be on
she's
Diversity and
responding to the
Dragons
drama.
later today. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm going to be on Diversity and Dragons here later tonight. So
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Since this is your villain arc, I demand a proper monologue. I like what you're doing, so I decided to pull the trigger and order White Box and become a channel member. Well, I appreciate it.
nice.
I mean, I'm not very good at monologuing. I'm better if you follow me like on X and stuff like that at those like quick, snappy, mean comments that I seem to be more known for now. So
The villain arc continues.
And K-Dolo says leftists like racist art all the time, and they cream over Cthulhu all the time. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I like racist art, but I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Pundit shot himself in the foot. Many such cases. Yep.
The funny thing is that we're being called like pundit or not pundit, Kelsey Sims or Shadowdark Sims now. For one, I'm the only one here in this whole panel who's ever made a Shadowdark product.
Mhm.
And two, when we first reviewed Shadowdark on this very fucking channel, we weren't all that positive about it. Like at least the playtest version. Once we all saw like the finished version and we saw like all that include, we kind of changed our tune. Go
ahead, finish. Sorry, I don't want to.
No, but I'm just saying, like, we're Kelsey Sims. Like, okay, yeah, sorry that she's nice and you're not. Ooh.
I still have criticisms about this book, and I plan on doing a more in-depth kind of re-review of it based on it, because we didn't get the full picture in the quick start rules, so some of my opinions on this have changed. I do play this game with my daughter. She's 4, but the thing about this game, and I think that what makes it accessible, and Bear hit it on the head. She made a game for all ages. So this game is something that I can play with my 4-year-old, and she gets it and she knows what's going on. But I see the appeal for there's greater depth to it too. And there's lots of good GM tools in this too. It has really great tables, random tables for zero prep gaming, which all of you guys know I'm all about the zero prep gaming, right? Showing up like a Chad with your whiskey and your cigar and nothing, and no plan, and just kind of rolling it. Yeah. There you go, Vic.
Look at that. He's ready.
So like I appreciate that aspect of it. There's stuff about the system that I don't particularly care for.
Well, let's not forget the effect that women have around tabletop nerds. Okay. You let them into your party, and then it gets all disrupted. So, I blame that.
People comparing it to Morkborg and Fairly, like, let's be honest. You pick up Morkborg and you're like, why did I buy this? It's like, oh, you look at it and it looks like a magazine. Like, at least Shadowdark seems like a complete, thoroughly fleshed out game.
Yeah.
Poncho Goblin, who supports the channel on Gilded server. Thank you for the $4.99. Also helps moderate the channel. Hell, between Vic, John, and that stream, I was on that stream. I was probably the most critical at the time. Now that I played it, I quite like it. Yeah, was it us 3, Vic? I think it was just us 3 that reviewed it. Yeah, at least the quick start rules. We kind of skimmed through them. There's some things about it, like I said, that I don't like, and I'm gonna talk about what I like and don't like about this in a future video. But what I guess what annoys me with the whole thing is seeing people that are critiquing her marketing, critiquing the slick presentation, apparently, like like they're critiquing all they're critiquing all these things about it that have nothing to do with the game system itself. And when I tell people, when people said like, "Oh, it's just another BX clone," I'm like, actually, no, it's not. If you read the system, you know that it's not a BX clone. It's sort of like rebuilding 5e informed by BX. But I haven't seen anyone really tackle the system and actually give me like a real criticism why Shadowdark is bad. Because some of them try and come in and they mostly talk about her marketing and everything. And one of the things that like pundit said was like the OSR is punk rock, and you have to market it like her marketing was very reminiscent of like WotC style marketing, and so that's bad. And it's like, well, what does it have to do with anything, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, also her slick
cares?
presentation. She literally taught herself Affinity, or not Affinity, InDesign with like a $15 like online course, and then she did all the layout herself. Like, yeah, sorry that she's good at it apparently. Sorry that you're terrible at layout, and that apparently I don't know. Fuck it.
Careful, Vic. You know what happens when you drink and get upset. No,
I'm not upset, you jerk. I'll fucking fight you.
Yeah. You want to fight about it?
Rants are fine on the channel.
Mhm.
We got another super chat from Dark Knight of Hibernia. Thank you, sir. $2 or two pounds. He's in Ireland, I believe. So.
Euros. Those are euros.
Oh, keep the fire alive, sir.
Yeah. Well,
Zero
euros are more
prep.
for it than dollars. So.
Zero prep for 0E based in Gygax build. Yep. Let's see here. I got another super chat. You guys are being very generous as of late. I really appreciate it. It helps pay for StreamYard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to pay for it.
The OSR recoils in horror when told to actually learn a skill. Yes. Yeah. That's the hard part. Like, look, guys, like this book, like she learned this, and you skim through it, and it has a nice cleaned layout. Like it's a nice looking book.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to come after me for this slick presentation? Like, are they going to come after me?
Yeah.
For how my book looks? Like, you're literally attacking a book because you're suspicious of it because it looks a little too good. Like, it's just so obviously envious, in my opinion, and that's what bothered me, and why I've kind of been beating the drum on that.
We've gotten praise for our layout, both of us, and we just taught that shit to ourselves using like a $50 like program. Like, we don't even use InDesign, we use Affinity, which isn't even like the monthly subscription, and it's not quite as good. But like, sorry that we're actually teaching ourselves a skill, and we're actually like halfway decent at it.
Unlike me, who has a professional like that literally is Frank's job. So
yeah. Well, that's why I'm jealous of your layout.
Yeah, I mean, Greg, your stuff is also, at a higher tier. So,
yeah, you make good looking books.
Yeah,
I mean, for me, it's like I'm a single dude that makes everything. Like, I'm one man that made all this, aside from the printing and distribution. But like the way it looks is 100% me, and it's like it should be inspiring to see these people succeed. It should be inspiring to see them succeed and be like, you know what, I could do that myself. Someone on Twitter was like, why do you care so much? Like, why does it matter? And it's like, well, if you're in the business, it really matters when your name is being dragged to the mud. Like Vic said, this is a very small hobby, and the accusations against me were reaching the creator's circle of Kelsey's circle of creator friends. I would like to have decent business relationships with anyone that's willing to have that with me, right? And friendships as well, even if they believe different things about me. Surprise, surprise, you can be friends with people that believe different things than you. And so if it reaches all the way over to there, it matters. And then they said like, well, you can't even make $1,000 a month making RPGs. And well, first of all, I don't just make RPGs. I don't just make books. I freelance art and do lots of other things as well. But also what you're telling me is that what was the point of even doing this, right? Why even bother making this? Why did I bother? What's the point?
Yeah.
It's just bad arguments of what I've seen per usual from a lot of these people.
Like what does it mean? WotC style marketing? I don't know.
Good marketing, sorry. Like, I don't know. Like, again, like what's against? Why is being good at marketing suddenly like a bad thing? Just because you're bad at it?
Yeah.
Right.
Plus, they also do marketing. Everyone goes on each other's shows. Pundit reviews people's books. Everyone uses marketing to a degree, but suddenly when you go to like a level beyond that, like all of a sudden it becomes like, you know, you're a villain. Like I don't really get it.
That's a whole crabs in a bucket thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of crabs in this bucket. We got another super chat from Alchemic Raker. Thank you, sir. I thought Shadow Dark was draining all the StreamYard's funding from the OSR.
Yeah.
And Dark Knight of Hibernia. People like us are like clerics to the OSR. Hold up a rule book before them and consult the Turn Undead table. It does wonders. It's true. You will get. I think we'll get to that because it's kind of become my gripe within the OSR, and kind of why I'm on this villain arc. But we might get to that in a second here on the stream. Thank you for the 5
the villain arc. It's true. I was expecting a scar and like an eye patch though.
I should have.
Looking forward to that.
You know, with getting into the season, there is like a Spirit of Halloween near me. I just need to go buy an eye patch. But Crafty Matt for $5. Thank you, Greg. We all know Frank's job is to keep you soaked in scaly art.
Yes.
Right? Because
moist.
Unfortunately, well, Frank does a lot of art, but his art is not
good.
Like I usually hire like. I mean, it's good, but that's not his focus. Like he went to art school, but he doesn't.
Yeah,
he was going to be an illustrator. Yeah.
Yeah, we got it. Frank's amazing. Yeah.
I'm just trying to tactfully explain how I'm not a scaly.
He's the modern Renaissance man. Yes, we get it.
I mean, I have dragon people with like huge boobs. That means nothing. Means nothing.
Well, I mean, to some of us it does. No.
Graph Paper Architect says a rising tide raises all boats, or success will help us all. I agree. You know,
she without prompting, without me asking, without me doing anything, she shilled my Kickstarter on her Discord. She backed it, like all this stuff, just because, you know, I'm friendly to her and she's been friendly to me. Like no money was exchanged, no nothing, no. You know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. She just, out of being like a nice person, she's like, "Hey Vic, your game looks. Let me shill it on your on my Discord server." Yeah, okay,
nice.
Yeah, sorry that she's a nice person who's actually like a net benefit to the hobby, unlike all you fucking assholes.
Seriously. Well, you know, I actually didn't get to finish my thought too. Like, so a lot of these lies about me had reached her Discord server and her circle of friends, and there were people like, "Who is this basic expert guy? He seems kind of conservative," and they were getting like a little worked up about me, and she didn't have to, but she stepped in and was like, "Hey guys, chill. Like, he's a good guy. Whatever, like leave him alone. He's fine.
Yeah,
you know, knock it off." And I will forever be thankful to that, because you know who didn't do that? You know who like whipped up a mob against me and all that stuff is a lot of the people that were supposedly on my side did that to me. So, you know, I think that like actions show real true character. You can profess all you want how you have this place of virtue and you're against these woke people and they're bad and you're good because you're against them. But I don't care when your actions speak otherwise. I'm going to call it like it is. And that's kind of what I've been doing.
She even went out of her way to defend Pundit when he was first attacking her. People on Twitter were calling him a Nazi. And she was like, "Hey, don't do that." She like told him to stop. But, you know, apparently because she's a millennial and she's a lesbian, that must mean she's secretly woke. So that must mean that we just have to hate her, like, you know, just automatically. Okay.
Now, wait a minute. You said lesbian. Is it lipstick lesbian or crew cut lesbian? There's a difference.
She's pretty lipstick, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah.
She can be swayed. No.
But it's like all those arguments, Vic, were like, I have absolutely zero proof at all that she's woke, but I'm gonna say she is just because that's the only criticism I can think of. It's like, fuck off,
it's like knee jerk. Oh, Nazi. You know, it's like, come on, dude. But can we get a bigger vocabulary?
But that's like the legit conspiracy theories going around about her success now, and that's like Lord Matthias said, like that shit is like straight up libel at this point.
Yeah,
libel. Yeah,
we'll take you there.
K Dolo, thank you again for the $2. Rising tides don't raise the boats with holes in them. It's true. And a lot of these people have holes in their boats. It just comes across as petty, you know.
Yeah.
And frustrating for me. Uriah Grant Edwards, thank you for the $4.99 as a filthy 5e tard.
Shit.
It's okay, man.
Swinging.
I'm on too, so
You know, I can't point the right way. Whatever.
yeah,
It's
I
all
always
weird
get
and everything.
confused.
Vic and Greg both have 5e books. We're not against 5e here, you know.
Yeah.
And I may or may not be. I have a 5e thing I made a long time ago. It's one of the first things I made. It's for free on Drive-Thru RPG. I just don't talk about it because I'm embarrassed about it. Not because it's 5e. It's just because it sucks. But
first works don't count. Yeah, I'm going to do a source book eventually for my comic, my brand and everything, and I'm going to include 5e stats as well as hopefully Castles and Crusade stats, so that if you can plug and play different aspects out of the source book that you like into your game. So I'm sorry, what's wrong with that? That means that it opens up my potential customer base to all those people who play those different games.
Sounds like marketing. Like that's not punk rock to me.
Yeah.
Uriah Grant, though, he says, as a filthy 5e tard, I find Shadowdark threads like the gap between the overpowered 5e mechanics and the old school deadly game vibe. And this is true. I've heard like the random encounter tables. I think Ginger Fraser over at Black Lodge Games was talking about, like, he was running, I think, a one shot or something for his friends, and they just entered a room and there was like 5 mummies in it. And it's like, well, like level 1 characters facing off against like 5 mummies. Like that's very old school and feel,
and the OSR is so punk rock. I remember all the punk rockers back in the day bragging about how they graduated from universities and they're part of the intelligentsia and all this nonsense.
Yeah. Let's see.
Isn't punk rock left wing? I'm sorry, I don't know. Things move all the time. I don't know anymore.
I can't even keep up with it anymore.
Right?
It seems all fake and lame.
You and your traditional family. I'm going to dress how I want.
Dark Knight of Hibernia again for €5. Kelsey is nice to people and she succeeds. Pundit / OSR acts like assholes and struggle. What sorcery is this? I don't know. It just, to me, it just comes across as like pure envy. And I don't want to impute motivation to people. I generally try not to, but it's really hard in these kinds of situations to see this.
Yeah, like I'm real tired of, oh, you were just jealous kind of knee-jerk reaction, but I mean, when they're sending off enough flares, and signals, it's like, yeah, okay, because like, give me your arguments, tell me, why is marketing like WotC bad? First of all, like, what does that even mean? So yeah, it just sounds like a lot of just mewing about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and to the marketing point, we should bring up too that Kelsey's married. Her wife is a marketing person, so it's like you have this person in your corner who knows about this stuff. It's like you're gonna. I don't fault anyone for maximizing all of the advantages that they can possibly scramble to maximize their success. We should be encouraging that. That's what I try to do. Like is it bad then that because, for instance, I am able to write and do layout and do my own illustrations, that's somehow like not cool and unfair? Maybe it's unfair, maybe it's not cool, but that's the advantage I have, and so I'm going to use it, right?
Yeah.
So
I would love to be able to do my illustrations, and occasionally I am jealous that you can do those, but like that jealousy doesn't. That's more like, oh man, I wish I could do that, and not like that jerk like with his leg up on me,
Yeah.
There's things that like you do, Vic. Like you're really good at you're really good at like setting stuff and these like really wild ideas that like
great tweets.
Thank you.
Banger tweets.
Yeah.
We got Ryan Heffelfinger for $4.99. It says, any plans to create Shadowdark content or bring any 0E principles to the game? P.S. I hope you find a moment of peace among the chaos. Well, thank you. No, probably not. I mean, Shadowdark's cool. People are telling me like I should do like Makuhito Shadowdark, and part of me sort of like I could. Like Vic's encouraged me in that, but my heart's just not in it.
Yeah,
because it's it's like I want to go really hardcore historical, like what kind of heightened historicity, which is what Makuhito has. But I don't know how to make the torch mechanic. Like if I use the torch mechanic as it is, there's not much dungeon delving in Mockweedle. It's very much like a wilderness encounter sort of. You're supposed to play it kind of like a war game kind of thing. And I don't know if I can make that work. And I just don't have other ideas. I think her torch mechanic is really neat. But I don't know how to. It kind of limits the sort of settings and ideas that you can riff off with it based on the torch mechanic. So
well, like I said, I'm the only one on the panel who's actually done a Shadowdark product, and I didn't do it because it was popular or whatever. I did it because people asked me to. People will ask me for a while, like, "Hey Vic, you should do this like Shadowdark thing." Plus, I had like a good idea for how to translate the torch mechanic to like a modern context with like batteries and stuff like that. And I thought that was like a cool idea, and it got stuck in my head, and I wanted to do something with it. And that's like literally the only reason. But now I'm being accused of being a cloud chaser because I wrote like one thing for Shadowdark. Chase these nuts.
This is true. I mean, I could, maybe I will. Maybe I'll sit down and at least like provide the classes, and I can kind of repurpose some of the material from this into like a Shadowdark thing.
Or an optional rule set.
Yeah. But you know, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Black Lodge put it pretty succinctly here. Just tuning in. For clarity, no one is mad that some people don't like Shadowdark. They are mad that bad faith actors have lied about Kelsey and claimed some sort of conspiracy. Exactly. Even on the Guilded server, that everyone accuses us of being like some sort of weird cult. About half the people on there like don't give a shit about Shadowdark, and they will like actively trash it. Nobody cares. But that's all based on the mechanics, on the game style that people prefer. Some people don't like that it doesn't have domain play and like, you know, all that stuff. That's fine. But what everyone's annoyed about is all the weird crab in the bucket conspiracy theory nonsense that's going around.
Yeah. And who's pushing them? That's the thing.
We got Crafty using super chats at Ryan Heffelfinger at the curator. Ryan, giant crabs already in the creature section. Shadowdark already has all the content you'll ever use. Ryan really likes his crabmen. I know from Yoon Soon. I think that's
yeah. I don't know.
That's the setting he's all about. Yeah, exactly. BLG. You can dislike something, but the shit talking is cringe, and that's what it is. It's like I already was on this villain arc, you know, as I'm calling it. Really all it is like I'm not really changing how I act or what I believe or think. I'm just like not putting I'm just have a zero tolerance policy for nonsense at this point. That's just how I'm putting it. But people perceive you as a villain when you do this. But for me, it was like I've been on this, and it's like I experienced this myself. I know what it feels like, and you know, I'm not that big. My channel just hit 5K subscribers. I'm not even Thank you. I'm not even 5K followers on X or anything like that. Like I have a moderate, you know, pool of influence that people can see, but what it's enough. And I've talked about this on stream before, where I think a lot of these people think that a lot of these creators, a lot of these people they watch on YouTube that talk about the game, and this kind of goes to the wider sort of thing of like being moderately recognizable on the internet as someone, they kind of don't view you as a person anymore, and they think that they can just like I've noticed this all the time. Like I will say something, and then I get people in my replies in my comment section that come in with lots of heat and energy, and when I return that heat and energy, they do the surprise Pikachu face of like how can you talk to your viewers this way? How can you talk to a follower this way? It's like you came in with this energy, bud, and I'm just returning it. So maybe,
or it'll be, how could you talk to a potential customer this way? Like I've heard that. I was like, well, maybe I don't care if you're my customer. If you're kind of a dumb asshole, you know, like, I don't, you know, you don't have to buy my stuff. Like somebody else will. It's okay.
How many Ginger actually had a really good tweet about this exact like topic just today. So yeah,
you know, and it's I see that happening, and it's like, you know what, I'm tired of it. I had a lot of these people blocked. I remained quiet for most of the last year after having, again, horrible things said about me. And so now I'm just done. And so now I see it being done to someone who is like, even if I don't fully think even if I have issues with the game that she made, and there's going to be issues with the games I make, it's just part of making games, but she's a nice person. She doesn't deserve this. And she is fair. I appreciate fairness in people. and how they interact with people online. Like, I appreciate being fair to people, even people that are being not so charitable and fair to you. And that's a quality that, like, I tried and I was not good at, but she's been pretty good at it. And so I see that and I'm just like, man, this is BS.
Yeah.
And part of it is the OSR. Like, people realize that the OSR, whatever it was as a design philosophy, is dying because everyone just keeps doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, they've oversaturated the market with BX clones, and so
what the OSR now is, it's a label for a kind of cult of personality. It's almost like a virtue signal now. It's like, I'm in the OSR and we believe this, and you have like purity testing and grifting, and that's really what most of it is about now. Like, and no one wants another BX clone, so let's use it as the label that we give ourselves so we can try and be like a movement. I hate these movements in like gaming. It's dumb.
A punk rock design movement.
Yeah.
Well, you can keep it. I just want to do what I want to do, and if it's punk rock or not, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you know, Planet Tobar, who supports the channel, has a good comment here. He says, customers comes into your sandwich shop, urinates all over the sneeze guard and salad buffet. You tell them to leave. How dare you treat a customer that way? That's exactly it. That's exactly what it's like. You don't get to come in just because you have this customer thing. You don't get to come in and treat me like trash and expect me to be cordial to you. Like, no,
right.
I'm at a point where, like, you come in with heat, I'm going to return the same energy and heat back at you. Maybe in excess. I will use excessive force against you as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm not opposed to that.
So Harmony, people know Harmony. She tweeted today, I stopped meaningfully responding to criticism because I was called a public figure, which apparently means anyone can say whatever they want about me, but if I respond, it's bullying. It's like, yeah, exactly. I was welcome to the club.
I've had this accusation leveled at me, and that's partly what I'm just like leaning into it. Because here's the thing is, like, I've tried being nice. I've tried being quiet. I've tried ignoring these people, and it eats at you. It does eat at you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You know, like you feel like, man, like I'm just laying down and taking this, and like I don't like it.
Yeah.
So now I'm coming out of the gate swinging, and people don't like it. And you know, like I could tell, like I unblocked, for instance, like Ryan David on X, and I went at him. I went at the Nerd Cognito guy because he was saying little jabs about me. He's been doing little jabs about me for a year. And I could see it in his tweets. I could see it in his expression on his recent stream that he was like taken aback that I took away the block and just went at him with excessive force.
He's like passive aggressive gamma personality, right?
Yeah.
It's like you know, he's the secret king and you don't deserve what you have kind of dude.
Yeah, like you were saying, I think before we started, like crying in pain as they hit you.
Cry as he strikes at you. Yeah. It's like, but I didn't do anything. In fact, you started it. Why is he attacking me? Like, what are you talking about?
Or like you don't say anything at all, or mention them, or make any remarks about them for like 6 months, and then they come out with a little jab, and like, so, and then you come out swinging, and they're like, "Oh, I was just too." It's like the bully tactic of "It's just a joke, bro." It's like,
cry bully.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point with a lot of the people in this hobby where I'm just like, you know what? You're fake, you're lame, you don't have a real game, you don't even understand your rule books, you don't know how to read, you're illiterate, you're effeminate. You don't even know, like you were bullied in junior high and high school. I said this before the stream. You were bullied in junior high and high school, not because you played D&D and not because you're a nerd. It's because you're an insufferable person. That's why you were bullied. You know, that's my view with a lot of these people, because a lot of these people want to, like, oh, being a nerd is cool now, and so now it's cool to play D&D, and now I have some sort of modicum of like social clout, and it's like, nah, you're still like the same terrible, crappy person that you always were. That reminds me of I think with a lot of these people, because I have this victim complex. There's like a 30 Rock episode where Tina Fey's character remembers being back in high school. Remembers being back in high school, and she thinks like the popular kids are total jerks to her, and then she kind of has like the corrected memory of like, actually no, they were actually very supportive and kind to her, and she was the jerk.
Yeah,
Like that's what a lot of this is.
that's,
You
that's
know?
a great episode. I remember that one.
Thank you, Mercurius, for the gifting the. I'll have to check who it was. Gifting
Very
the
nice.
membership. Dark Knight of Hibernia for €5. Russian Laugh. Join the OSR, comrade. Have free hipster label on crappy book. Yuck. Also, TBE, where is the death whistle, you bastard? Oh, yeah, I saw your message. Sorry, honestly, that was like one of those things I think I had in the book, like in my notes, and it just didn't make it into the book.
It's like literally the most important thing in the entire setting, and it didn't make it.
I would say you could have like death whistles as a magic item in Makuhito. That would be like what I would do. Maybe it could cause morale checks or something like that when blown. Like that'd be pretty cool.
Well, when are you going to make your Conquistador book? Because then maybe you could put it in there.
I could put it in there. That would be a good way to do it. The Conquistador supplement, mostly because I'm a little burnt out on Makuhito, because I'm barely finishing up fulfilling that Kickstarter and it kicked my ass. I'm sort of like I need to take a break from thinking about it for a while before I feel energized to work on something for it again. I have some stuff written and some research done, but it's not near complete thing. So I like the new TBE going off the chain at the Cry Bullies. Well, thank you. See, we know what's funny though is like people seem to like it. People like to see justice happen. There's a cathartic.
Yes.
There is a cathartic feeling that happens when you see absolute losers get what they deserve, and when they're crying and complaining as cry bullies, gets little to no sympathy. And that's the thing. It's like I've realized, like you just have to keep pushing and pressuring these people. You have to just keep. You cannot let up. You cannot be quote unquote civil with these people. You cannot do any of those things. You cannot treat them under rules of civility, because they will take advantage of that. That's how they win. That's how they infiltrate the hobby, both on the left and the right, is they take advantage of people's general niceness and civility and wanting to be friendly to everyone. They take advantage of that. So as soon as the thing is that these people are cowardly and weak. As soon as you see them, you just have to hit them, physically in person or
yeah, careful. It'd be like, oh, he's calling for violence on me. That's why you finish up with in Minecraft. In Minecraft.
There's a few people I've met online that I would love to fight in real life in Minecraft.
In real Minecraft.
Yeah.
You have to just be like hard at these people, because they do not understand any other sort of language. And so when you've won, because the cry bully tactic of crying like, why are you doing this to me? This is out of nowhere. That is a last resort tactic on their part, because they don't know how to respond to people that are like, no, I am not putting up with this anymore. You need to stop.
Yeah.
Guard bro, thank you for the $10. Half of these people will get into spats with made a single D&D themed thing and have been riding the high for nearly a decade, then use drama to keep themselves floating and relevant. Rage fuel. It's true. I think a lot of it too is some of these guys, and again, I talked about the culture war. I'm sick of the culture war. And I think maybe a lot of you guys here are maybe kind of sick of the culture war too. From both sides,
Yes.
I'm at a point where like I think the way that we win the culture war isn't to like do witch hunts to see who's woke, who's not woke, who's a racist and a bigot, and who's not a racist and a bigot. Let's all just make a product, and whoever's product comes out on top, we know that's what people want. That's how we'll win, right? Yeah. And I think that's the way we'll win.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and as it swings, as that pendulum continues to swing, people are going to be like, oh, they're going to change. They're going to be like, I made mistakes, or I think differently now that I'm more mature, or whatever they think. You got to let them be that way and not hold everything against them either. So maybe not forget, maybe not even forgive, but just let them be like, yeah, dude, it's cool, and let them join the game. Because that's how our side, whatever that means, can win in the end. Is if you don't start gatekeeping everybody who once had a tongue ring or something. You know? So
Oh, they had purple hair once. I don't know about them.
yeah,
You don't win the culture war by basically being like a right-wing version of like a cancel pig. You win
Yeah.
it by just being a normal, cool person who makes cool shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I know Guardbro's working on a game too. So
Yeah.
I wish you luck with that, man.
Yeah. I backed it.
It's
Where's
got
my
a
game
snap
guard,
bow,
bro?
a stem and sword.
Yeah.
in Minecraft.
That's what I call my. Oh, never mind.
What?
Well, anyone with Satanis in their username is bound to be a massive cringe lord. Look, the thing with Venger is that like I generally kind of like Venger. He seems like a nice, good-hearted guy more often than not, but he does turn a blind eye to people. And I thought his comment of the shadow darkening in his blog post was complete BS. And I think it sullied his send-off because I was willing to be sympathetic to him and I was kind of upset that he was quitting, being a creator in the hobby. I was kind of like, oh, that sucks, He's out there doing his weird like Chult Banana Man stuff. But like there's a place for that, and it's sad that he's not going to do it anymore. But he lost my sympathy when he was essentially trying to blame others for why he's failing. I could easily say I'm struggling now, or like I could be better than I am now if it wasn't for all these people that I'm complaining about. You notice like I come at them, but I don't blame them for any of the shortcomings that I feel I have experienced or felt, because that's 100% me. I can't control any of that.
Yeah.
And
it acts as a tent pole for shitty arguments, on both sides. So then everybody can circle around, the shadow darkening. And I mean, it's great, rhetoric for a topic, but at the same time, it obfuscates the real arguments of like what I was saying. Well, what is wrong with it? Like, what is it that is so bad about, like, how was she able to suck the oxygen out, as they would say?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What is WotC marketing? Again, like there's not a lot of good arguments because they can just say, it's the shadow darkening, and well, that's jealous, and that's it's like, well, there goes all the conversation. We're not going to find out what's really going on.
It does kill the conversation.
Yeah.
But now he's also coming at you, John, because you used the word commie once, and he's like all upset about it. And it's like, where were you, Venger, when your co-hosts and friends were calling us like literal Nazis for like months at a time? And then he's like,
gone.
"Well, I was minding my own business." Guess what? Mind your own fucking business now too, then.
Yeah.
And guess what? We were sympathetic to you for a long time. We purposely didn't blame you for what your friends and co-hosts were doing, because we don't play that fucking guilt by association shit. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and so don't come at me about like I'm exiting people. He said I was trying to silence people. Venger said I was trying to silence people by calling them commies. I'm like, first of all, who did I call a commie? If you feel like I called you a commie, it's because you have the zero-sum game thinking mentality. That is legitimately like a communist sort of thinking that like I don't have because they have. That is very much like communist rhetoric, right? That's how you have, you're killing people for the farmers because they have land and you don't. Like that's
so much, yeah. Well, and if you are in this, if you're a creator, if you're an indie creator, right, it's up to you to create an audience, to get your other people's eyes on your stuff. Like, I'm grateful to be here to be able to present my products in front of your audience, because maybe one of them or two of them might be interested in it. That doesn't mean that I'm taking from your pie. It's that I'm here trying to offer something for others. And while I'm also potentially creating my own audience at the same time, then hopefully, in this game, I'll say, hey, why don't you come on my show and we can show off your stuff, and maybe you can get a sale or two on my channel as well. Like, that's how in the indie space it goes a lot smoother than saying, well, there's only so many buyers out there who have enough money to give me their money. It's like, That's
Well,
not really how that works. And
do we know
that's
anything
provable.
about like RPG people? Because it's like I'm looking at my bookshelf right now,
Yeah.
and I have a ton of books on there, and I'm ashamed to say I have some books that I purchased that I've not played yet. Some games that I've not played yet. People buy games, they buy books. Now you can argue like it sucks that they don't play my game, maybe, but if they're buying your thing still, like you're still doing well, you know, and they may play your game. There's books on here on my shelf that I've not played, but I've looked at and taken ideas from.
Yeah.
Right. Like they still get use by me in some respect. So this idea that like, oh, it's either Shadowdark or my game. And you know, they're holding both in their hands and they're like, oh, I don't know. And then they pick Shadowdark. It's like, that's generally not how people are making their decisions when they're purchasing games.
No.
When I go on Drive-Thru RPG and I you know, I have my credits and stuff that I usually spend on games when I get games that I'm probably not going to play. Like I buy multiple games at a time that I'm interested in. Right. So it's like, it's just a silly argument.
Yeah. I mean,
like
it is a good,
that's so good.
it is a good thought exercise as a creator to have, though, to try and be like, if my book was on the shelf with another similar book, would someone choose mine over theirs?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you don't want to create a competitive mindset about it, because like I made 5 ebooks, like I've made like 4 of them. I never played OD&D, never played Chainmail, never played 1E. Came from a 2E type of 3rd edition guy, you know, like Immortal Rising here. He's a 3rd edition guy. If I suddenly like busted my ass off and made an OD&D book, which I've been thinking about doing, am I going to get shit on as a purity test because I came out of nowhere and I was a 5E guy and now suddenly I'm into it? That shouldn't be the case. Like, you know, Kelsey, creator of Shadowdark, is like into games. She worked on it hard. Like, it's not like she's just a tourist. She actually cares about gaming and like old school gaming and thinks about it. You know, if you're like that, then you're cool in my book.
Yeah. Well, and is she bringing new eyes into the market? Like people who were just kind of circling and hasn't really participated yet, and then they see this product come up, they like the creator, you know, for whatever reason, something clicks and like, let me check this out, and then they enjoy it. We'll just say for the sake of argument, they enjoy it. Then they're like, I wonder, you know, they'll keep their eyes open, even if not necessarily on purpose. They'll still be scanning around for something else, and that's the good part. Is because if they haven't been in the market and she helps bring eyes to that market, then she is in fact raising all boats or whatever. So
it's just like you can't stop other people making stuff. You just have to focus on yourself. You just have to make your own game as good as you can and like hope that you get like an audience. Like even within my little niche, I have like people I could consider rivals if I was an asshole. Like Eric Bloat, who does like kind of like modern themed like old school essential stuff, same as me. I don't see him as a rival. Instead, I would love to collaborate with him someday. Like you have to have that mindset. I don't know.
Where does he live, Vic? Tell me. I'll pay him a visit in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Dark Knight of Hibernia for 2 years. These nerds suffer from fearless behavior. It's true. They've been able to get away with it for too long, without repercussions for their antisocial behavior. And he also said, for 5, I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel. I'll fight what I hate by ignoring it and focus on the things I love. I want to do things that feed my soul. I wish you the best on that. And I don't really like talking about this subject here right now, but I feel like it needs to be talked about. And for me here, there is like a cathartic nature to it as well, of just like unloading on people. But you know, it is a lot of these guys that you see talking about Shadowdark and other games like it are people that they hate things more than they like things. And I think that is also a big problem. Like they focus too much on what they hate and they don't talk enough about what they like. Like I hate people that show up and they're like, we're talking about D&D and they're like, oh, you're playing D&D. And you know, they talk about how much they hate like any version of it. And it's like, well, why are you here? Like, why did you enter into this conversation to tell us how much? Then we're talking about D&D and how much we like it, how much you don't like it. I don't care. Why would I care? So why are you here? So it is definitely like a good goal to go towards. I think more often than not, we sometimes end up talking about things we dislike, which is what's, we're talking about situations we dislike in the hobby here right now. But focusing on the good is definitely better.
Well, also to be fair, if it was just, if there wasn't any like previous history to this, we probably wouldn't be talking about it this much. But this is like kind of like an extension, because a lot of the same personalities are involved, of like stuff we've been going through for like a year now. And now we're just seeing like Kelsey just getting like unfairly like slandered by these same dickheads. And yeah, I don't know, we're just fed up with it. So now we're talking about it.
Yeah, the economy is going bad. The shrinking market isn't the responsibility of the Shadowdark Illuminati. Yeah, I mean, not to get political, but there is bigger things going on that cause people to make. It's not that they're choosing between Shadowdark and your game. They're choosing between Shadowdark, your game, and like that loaf of bread and that gallon of milk too. Like prices are getting more expensive, and you have to take that into consideration. RPGs are luxury goods by default. They're not necessary to live. So especially when you already have a shelf full of books, some people just make the choice like, I have what I need now. I'm almost probably there at that point personally for me, but it's true. Thank you for the $5, Australian dollars.
They almost count. No, just kidding.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I just think it's like very I'm just tired of seeing the pettiness. Like a lot of these guys are grown men, right? And that's the irony too. Like Griff from Secret of Blackmore blocked me, who's been on. I've had him on the stream before to talk about his Kickstarter for Tawnisborg.
I saw that. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, which it was funny too. Like I released a review of his Tawnisborg today. I recorded it last week, and then he blocked me because he's like a public school principal, and hitting back is just as bad as those that hit you. So
well, he told me he doesn't like drama, and he blocked you because you're like you're starting drama, and it's like you made literally 2 call-out posts about the basic expert. You're calling him immature. You're like falling for the lies of people in the comments, calling you like, oh well, basic experts like bros are now, and like all this stuff. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't like drama, well, don't engage with it then. Just quietly block.
Yeah.
It's like I was telling people, in the indie comic space, is like, if you don't want to watch or be a part of or see any of the drama, just change the channel. Just go to someone. There's plenty of indie comic guys out there not talking about drama, who are just trying to have a good time, talk about each other's products and stuff like that, and things they like. Just go to those channels because they need your eyes as it is.
Yeah. I block and mute people that I don't like, or I don't like what they're saying, like literally every day. I don't go announcing it. I don't go making out big call out posts. If you do, hey, you secretly do love drama. You just only love your own drama. So
yeah.
And I tried to avoid it, but it's like at a point where it's like, internally you're just like, I have to say something. Like, I'm tired of hearing these people talk about me this way. I'm going to say something. Yeah. I don't care what people think. And if people get mad at me for saying something in response to people saying things about me, then that is what it is. I legitimately try to avoid drama, but I will get in the mud and as well if I need to. I don't really care. I don't care.
Well, that's another thing. You're only getting in the mud after like literally a year or more of just like constant harassment, snipes, libels, slander, like all sorts of bullshit. So it's not like you're just like doing it willy nilly.
Yeah. Well, or like when somebody sets up a bully situation, like I'm not saying that the Avenger dude was trying to do that, but that gives ammunition to anybody who is going to take shots at Kelsey, and that's not helpful. That's definitely not helpful to Kelsey, even though I think just about any marketing is probably good marketing. At the same time, it's not really necessary. I hope he doesn't feel that she actually negatively affected his business, because I mean, you gotta, I guess, show receipts or something. I don't know.
Well, it's not even really about Venger. Like, I didn't really like what he said and the shade he threw in his farewell, but it just kind of grew beyond him. Just like the usual suspects came out of the woodwork to say their nonsense.
It gives ammunition. It really does. And then it's like, oh shit, here comes these assholes. Yeah.
Yeah, and they end up in my replies all the time. And again, it's like the shocked Pikachu face when you when you're mean back to them, and it's like, I don't know what you expected.
Yeah, you can't talk to me like that.
Yes, I can. I just did.
Yeah, what are you talking
about? Let's see here. I think someone had a comment here I wanted to highlight, and now I lost it. Shoot.
So where does this go from here for Kelsey? Like, how do you guys know how this has been affecting her?
She's gonna enjoy her $1.5 million while we sit here poor and angry. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure she's annoyed, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I would guess that it's annoying.
Yeah.
I think she's doing a better job than like I've been doing. Like, I went a year without saying anything, but she did say on X, though, she's like, I do say stuff sometimes. I will respond to some of the hate sometimes, which she did. She does.
Yeah.
She's just not as mean as like I am about it. Like,
yeah,
you end up in my replies, and you're asking to be dunked on. I will give you what you ask for. So.
Yep, I will give you the opportunity to show everybody that you're an ass.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that a lot of the stuff that's been said about her, she doesn't particularly enjoy, because I've talked to her personally. So she's just a human after all, and that's the thing. She was literally just one of us. Like, if her origin story is true, and I have like no reason to believe it isn't, unlike the weird conspiracy theorists, she was like living in her parents' basement for like 2 years. She taught herself in design. She collected like art. Whenever she could pay for it over the course of like 3 years, and she wrote her game, and it just so happened that it ended up blowing up because she had like previous relationships and stuff that were beneficial to her. And it's like, okay, sorry that happened, but
she made friends. Something a lot of these idiots in the OSR could learn how to do is like make friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Be likable. No.
Yeah. Make friends. Like, be normal.
What are these conspiracy theories about this girl or lady, I guess? Like she's a Wasi plant, or what kind of conspiracy theories? Is she Bigfoot in disguise?
I haven't heard. I just heard that like she's secretly woke. She's secretly. She paid other people to review the Dungeon Craft, Professor Dungeon Master. I don't know if you've ever seen his channel. He has a big channel.
Sure. I like him.
He gave a really great review of Shadowdark right before the Kickstarter, and so a lot of the accusations, which all go to Pundit, who made that original claim and accusation, because Questing Beast, you have to pay for him to review your book. You're essentially paying for his time. You're not paying for him to give you a good review. I think you have to pay him like $50, and he'll make a video.
Nice.
But anyways, that was that, and they're saying like all these reviews dropped at the same time, roughly around the same time.
Good timing,
because these people are her friends, and maybe they knew the Kickstarter was coming, and so they accused her of this like conspiracy of paying influencers and all these other things in order to hype up her game, which is just Lion and Dragon with.
Doesn't that just sound like smart?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Like, okay, even if that's all true, who gives a shit? Guess what? You can do the same thing. You're allowed to.
Maybe take notes. I don't know.
How
did you market it?
So I'm good friends with the Black Lodge guys, and the YouTube channel is like growing pretty hard. Like when we first met them, they were like they just were starting out, and now they have like 10,000 subscribers. I've been on their show before. Okay, what if they have 100,000 subscribers in like 2 years? Am I not allowed to go on their show to talk about Modern Necessities 2.0 anymore or whatever? Like,
right.
am I suddenly like, some weird fucking like cloud chaser then? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, well, again, like if you're friends with people and you're cool with
Yeah.
people and your friends succeed and you're cool with them, like they're more than happy to bring you up with them, right?
Yeah, well, it's the Shia LaBeouf meme where like he's sitting in the theater and he's like, he's just smiling. It's like when my friends do well. Yeah, that's exactly what that feels like.
Yeah.
I love to see it.
Just because all their friends are like, equally losers like them doesn't mean that
Equally. Yeah, Magnus the Red got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called marketing.
Yeah.
Market, which they don't know how to do. It's like let's think about this for a minute. So she lived in her parents' basement. She wrote a game in her parents' basement. She taught herself InDesign from the $15 Udemy course.
Nice.
And you guys are saying that she's suffocating out the hobby by just learning things and being good at it and maximizing the things that were advantageous to her. Like,
yeah,
what
that bitch.
like like what maybe instead of being so green with envy, learn maybe InDesign yourself, maybe learn to do art yourself, maybe learn to do all these things yourselves, maybe look at the marketing she did, and just being like, hey, maybe I could get in contact with those people, maybe I can send a game to Professor Dungeon Master at Dungeon Craft and he can review it, maybe I can pay Question Beast $50 to feature the book on his channel and give a review. That's just marketing. It's just wild,
Yeah. And meanwhile, Pundit will only review your book if you send him a free copy. Okay, this kind of like the same thing. I'm sorry.
When you adjust for currency exchange in South America, I'm sure it equals out to like $50.
Yeah, which is like 6 months rent for him.
Yeah, it's true. If you're getting something for free and for a review, that's still monetary exchange in my opinion.
Yeah, well like I said earlier, like they go on each other's shows, they get like people to like shill this stuff, but but it's somehow more valid because it's smaller scale. Like, I don't know, I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this stuff already does it better. That's funny.
Harmony has a point here. Yeah, she cultivated her audience over years of making supplements and successfully transitioned a large percentage of them to Shadowdark. This wasn't some conspiracy. It's well done community building and marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like if I was making like old school stuff, right? Like Makuhito is successful and I have a following, and then I release something of like, let's say like Vic and I, we're going to work on Redacted, which is like using my Cow Punchers rules, and then we do a Kickstarter for that, and that makes like gobs of money. Like,
I hope so.
And we transfer people over to that game. Like, is that's just called like marketing. That's just called maximizing what you have available to you. This is basic free markets. And that's why, I got annoyed with Venture saying like, I shouldn't call people commies for like, you guys are literally being envious of someone being monetarily successful. This is exactly what those kinds of people do.
It's called capitalism. It's called the free market. I thought you guys were based right-wingers. I figured you guys would get the basic concept of capitalism, but I guess not.
This comment here. Where'd it go? Oh, no. Where'd this one? Nerds keep complaining instead of learning skills. Chads learn skills and make books. Yukio Mishima, probably.
I'm pretty much a one-man operation for the most part. I do have a friend who helps me with layout, but I only really use her for like my bigger projects. But like stuff like Blacklight, the first edition of Modern Necessities, like all these books that I've released, I've pretty much did by myself. Blacklight, I didn't even buy any art. I just got like commercial free stuff and I edited it so it looked fucking awesome. Like, yeah, learn some skills, dudes.
Yeah.
Magnus
Juan Cholo
says, "Oh, go ahead."
Oh, say. Well, I see Magnus is there. We'll get to his comment in a second. But Juan Cholo, I always love your name and your profile picture. Wait a minute. How much Avenger stuff use BX D&D based rules? Isn't Chalt Alpha Blue and Crimson Dragon Slayer using Avenger's own rules? How is Shadowdark direct competition? Well, I think Crimson Dragon Slayer is like a stripped down 5e. At least he claims it is. I've never looked at it. It doesn't really interest me. But it's a stripped down 5e that kind of looks to BX in a lot of ways. to inform it. So it's kind of like, I think what it comes down to is a lot of these guys are in this sort of sphere of like trying to 5E-ify BX. I think this is what Pundit does. You know, you look at Lion and Dragon, and he has difficulty check numbers. You know, he has DCs. Everything's on it. It's a unified D20 system, unlike real old school BX where you're rolling lots of different dice for different things. So it's a more unified like version. And I think this girl comes along, and this is a good transition to Magnus the Rad's comment. He says, let's be real, I'm going to catch flack for this, but I'm calling it as I see it. Most of this comes down to her being a woman. And, you know, I'm so tired of people using that sort of thing, but I really do think that is probably part of it. Like, I do think that might be part of it. That an unheard of girl, as far as a lot of these guys are concerned, kind of swooped in and did something better than they did. And I don't know, like it is like a tired trope, and you see people make this claim all the time, but you know, if it walks like a duck and looks like a duck, and I'm an expert on ducks because I own ducks, then it must be a duck.
Well, and just to avoid, you know, naysayers going, oh, see, they're saying it's because of her sex and all this other stuff. It's like, well, I haven't heard any good arguments as to why she could have negatively affected the market. You know, I haven't. All I've heard is just like jealous. Oh, and I hate saying that word jealous, because I think most of the times it's just a cop out for an argument. But you know, sometimes you know it just is that. It's like, well, I should have that kind of recognition and notoriety, and you know, and those types of personalities tend to be narcissists, right? So I don't know, you know. Who's making these accusations and things like that? I bet not everybody who's getting swept up in it. And then you just kind of look for, well, who made the original, you know, the original comments, you know, that have been carried on.
She made enough money in her Kickstarter to buy the entire country of Uruguay and probably transform it into fucking South American Wakanda. It's like flying cars and like.
Yeah. Wakanda.
Shane Winter says, of course Pundit would 5E-ify his games. He wrote 5E, don't you know? He invented it. It's true. He claimed that's a real claim he's made. He made 5E.
Only his is better. No, I don't know.
No, he was a consultant on 5E, and he there's a tweet out there. You can find it where he told someone like, you know, I made 5E, right? Or something like that. Like,
whoa.
Like, we're not joking. This is not an exaggeration. He's legit said that. It's hilarious. That's weird. And this is a good point too. You know, it is because it's a simp. It's why else would the word simp be coming up in the Shadow Dark discussion? The nerds got beat by a girl, and it's true. We know, like, I'm happily married. We know that Kelsey is a lesbian and married. Like, guys, like it's not about that at all. Like, no one cares. It's because you're a terrible person that we're dunking on you. It's not because of anything else. Like, I literally do not care.
Yeah, it's more funny to think that it is because she's female. Because, like, if you've ever been in you know, a nerd table, nothing but dudes, you're awkward teenagers, and then here comes you know, some girl, you know, it doesn't even matter. She could be a 5, and suddenly everybody gets weird and, like, you know, quiet. And
but I think that's these guys though. Like, I think that's these guys. These guys are the guys who are like, ew, cooties. And it's like, I literally don't care. You can sit at my table. I don't care. You can sit at my table. I don't care about anything about you. As long as you don't disrupt my game that I'm running or that I'm playing in, I don't care who you are, as long as we have a good time.
And that's why the Venger thing is so sad, because it's like, he was a relatively nice guy. He had a convention for old school gaming. You know, most people interacted with him and didn't have anything bad to say about him.
They just had
may or may not like his products, but then, like, all of a sudden, for no fucking reason, he just says this bullshit that just makes him seem like an asshole. It's like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, everyone liked you. Why would you suddenly decide to do that?
Yeah. Just say your goodbyes and just leave with, like, you know, everyone's support and you know, well wishes, and why throw out this little random jab? Yeah.
I wonder why he felt that he needed to just stop creating. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't understand.
The
Because,
OSR is dying.
So nobody's buying anything that he's making.
I don't know.
That's what he said. He said
yeah,
he was
that's what he
making
said
less,
in the blog article. Yeah.
he was making less and less money per month. So it was at a point where I think it just wasn't sustainable for him. And I think he said something about his Kickstarters weren't doing very well, which is sad, you know. But to me, I'm a very, as people know, I'm a very stubborn person. So for me, when that kind of stuff happens, like I want to sit and figure out like what's going wrong, how do I fix this, and can I make it better? You know, that's me personally. But you know, I'm not going to judge him for quitting. Part of me is a little jealous because you can kind of get away from all this sniping and stuff like that. You can probably just be the average rando in the reply sniping at people. But if you wanted to, I mean, he's kind of been doing that at me since yesterday. But
that sucks.
But you know, he didn't. I agree with Greg here. He didn't have to do that. Like he had the sympathy. I was reading his blog and I'm like, he had my sympathy. And then he got to that line and I'm like, really, man? Like it just sours like everything that you were saying.
Part of that is also because there's literally pictures of him out there, or like Gen Con or whatever, like one of the cons, like you know, it's like standing like this with Kelsey, smiling and laughing, and now and then you just throw out like that little jab. It's like,
yeah,
okay.
it seemed two-faced.
Yeah.
And he tried. I think he had made a tweet saying like, "Oh, I meant it in this like general sense." Like, no, dude. Like, no. I knew we know exactly what you meant, and so. I don't know. Malachi has a point here. Avenger had niche products. People are spending their money differently now, and you know it's
Well, and then if the market is oversaturated because you know there's so many people putting out products, and you're not doing anything new or original enough to gain the dwindling interest. You know, it's
that's the thing. He was doing something new and original. Like his Gonzo stuff was very different from what like the general OSR stuff is. But I guess people just weren't really that interested in it. Same way, I'm very niche with my modern shit, and I've had like a modicum of success. But I'm sure I'll never get like a 3 million Kickstarter or whatever. Like you know, I'm happy with what I'm doing. Like this is my passion, and like I don't know, just plugging away.
We all make niche stuff, you know. Cow Punchers is like hard cowboy realistic, like you know, it's not Weird West, and Makuhito is you're playing as the bad guys essentially. Like not many people people have flat out told me like I wanted to back Makuhito, but I don't want to play as the bad guys. So they're like,
that's racist.
Like, well, I mean, it's true though. So they're like, I'll wait till the Conquistador supplement comes out, and then we'll play as the Conquistadors. So you know, you have that option eventually. But you know, we all make kind of niche. We all make like niche stuff like that, and you gotta be okay with that.
Try making a comic book based on a Dungeons and Dragons game. It's pretty fucking niche.
No, except Greg, he's the basic bitch 5e world weaver. Weaver. Not weaver.
Well, I'm not the any award winner.
Well, that is true. Fuck. Shit.
And Michael here says Avenger did admit that the more he did what he wanted, the more niche he became, thus less money.
Yeah. But if he had left it at that, nobody would have an issue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not, like I said, it's not even really about what Avenger said. That was kind of the catalyst. It's just kind of like certain other people started running with that, and full-blown conspiracy theories started getting thrown out about Kelsey.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically what Pundit was saying like last year that we brought up at the start of the stream.
Mm-hmm.
That's what started that was the catalyst for the whole thing.
And people are still running with that basically.
And
then the whole thing, well, she's a millennial and she's lesbian, so she must be secretly woke. Even though her game isn't woke, even though she's never outright said anything woke, I'm just gonna automatically hate her because, well, she must be woke. It's like, okay, well,
that's called an ad hominem.
Yeah.
It's like, that has nothing to do with anything of value or substance. It's like, you know, okay, you can. What does it matter if they're millennial? What does that mean?
I'm a millennial.
From what I understand, she's like me. She paid for the art out of her own pocket before the Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
Like way before the Kickstarter, she had most of the book complete. And the people who use AI art are complaining.
Yeah. Well,
Again,
I'm technically millennial. I'm an early millennial, but
Same.
I'm my sexuality is a little bit. I'll leave it at that.
Whoa.
But but
Europeans.
that must mean I'm woke. Everyone knows. John knows for sure. All the stuff I've said in the admin channel, all the secret woke things I've said.
Damn Europeans.
Yeah.
I back Makuhito, and I think Aztecs are evil. Well, they are. Of my two ancestors, the Spanish and the Aztecs, I am legitimately glad that my Spanish ones won. So I will be honest.
Yeah.
I backed Makuhito, and it can't even do my lawn, and that's how. I mean, that's where I spent my.
Sorry.
What's up, Patrick? God have mercy on us, indeed. But my frustration too. This is a good way to like kind of segue into my frustration on a lot of the things with the hobby here, especially on the OSR side. Is I originally entered the OSR from the 5e side because I was kind of getting bored with 5e, and I wanted something different and new. And I've always been intrigued by old games, and so I found the OSR. There's all these old games at the time, and it was cool at first, but then I quickly started realizing as like I was reading rules and I would talk to these people about rules, that they don't know what they're talking about. A lot of these guys that are in the OSR. I think the first one, I think the first generation of guys, we talked about them on the last stream, Philotomy, a lot of these guys that kind of jump-started the OSR and its concepts. They knew what they were talking about, but like as the successive generations started to move further away from those guys over the last 20 years of people entering the hobby, there's people that have like a less and less of an understanding of what old school is about and what the games actually said. And so for me, I just get annoyed too. Like partly why I said I can't wait for the OSR to die. It doesn't mean that I want old school games to cease to exist. I want this culture of these guys that have been sitting on the laurels for 40 years and haven't evolved the way they play the game and their understanding of the game since they misunderstood it when they were 12. I want it to go away because I want to actually have good discourse about games, mechanics, all these things as a designer. I hate, I've used this as the example, the go-to example. I hate when, for instance, hey guys, how does grappling work in first edition of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons? And instead of someone explaining to you how that actually works, if you're asking a legitimate question, you want to try using that in your game, you have people that are like, oh, well, I homebrew it this way. Grappling is bad and you shouldn't use it. But you don't actually get an actual response to your question. You just get a bunch of nonsense from people that never understood it themselves. And I'm tired of it. So
yeah, how does grappling work in 1E, guys? And it's like, well, just play Palladium instead. I'm like, well, that's not what I'm asking.
yeah, and it's full of that. I hate like I also hate this when I talk about something. Hey, I like 3d6 down the line in 0E. I think it's neat, and for reasons XYZ, your ability scores don't matter as much as far as like it just increases the amount of XP you're going to get or penalize you. But other than that, like your ability scores don't matter all that much. So 3d6 down the line is kind of cool. It doesn't hurt too bad. You don't have as gimped of a character with it as you would in later editions. And then you get in your replies a ton of people that are, you got a ton of people that will come into your replies and talk to you about how bad you are for thinking that. Like that's just an example of or gold for XP. I like gold for XP. Well, here's a bunch of people that homebrew it, and here's why what they homebrew is better than what you do. It's kind of narcissistic. It's kind of elitist, which is ironic because I'm often accused of being this one true way guy, which I'm not. I don't really care how you run your game. I don't know how many times I have to say that, but what I am interested in is old games, how those games work. What kind of games do they produce? And you cannot have that conversation with it in the OSR at this point without there being some 40, 50-year-old guy who hasn't read his rulebook since he was 12 giving you some kind of crappy reply. And I'm tired of it. I want, my goal here is to like elevate the level of discussion as far as around games, beyond this basic bitch stuff. Let's talk about like the real nitty gritty about games. And it's extremely hard to find that in the OSR at this point.
Yeah. Well, like I don't know, what was it, a year and a half ago or something like that, when I first started hearing about OSR and stuff like that. I had originally just thought it was people who were rejecting, the made for modern audiences kind of D&D. The ones who were like, no, old school didn't care about all of these, the genders and all this other stuff. So, and that's the way it seemed, But as I was kind of hanging out more and more around OSR kind of guys, I was told that I am not an OSR guy because I don't play a edition before second edition or something like that, or because I play third, then I can't be OSR. And I'm like, well, obviously I don't know what OSR is. So, obviously over time I see it a little bit more clearly, but at that time, the people that were spouting about US or OSR, it was because it was a rejection of the theater kids who just want to tell stories instead of actually roll dice and play a war game. I don't know. It's unfortunate if that kind of goes to the wayside, but if it takes some loss to be told that you need to change, then I mean, that's the natural way of things, right? That's the cycle. So, and maybe this will have something to do with that, kind of push it in the right direction. It's unfortunate that this Venger dude, kind of closed out shop and everything, because I just saw he had a Venger Con, right, like a couple months ago or something, and it's like it would be great to have more of that, more people putting on conventions, even if it's for like 10 people to show up, but like on Twitter, it's gonna reach 100, 1,000 people to see that there are people keeping the flame alive. So it's unfortunate that it's all gone this way from an outside guy kind of looking in,
Yeah, it's sad, but at the same time, it's like I said earlier, I would love for everyone to get along, but there are legitimately bad people in the hobby on all sides. I want to be clear that like I will call out activists, pink hair crazy people on the left, and I will call out cringe totally based culture warriors on the right who are just being insufferable pricks. Like, I'm going to call both of them out because they're both not good for the hobby. They don't care about the hobby. The hobby is just sort of like this area where they can feel intellectual and they can feel like they care about the culture war more than the actual game itself. That's why I talk about rules. Like, you notice, like, on my channel here for everyone, like, I do shorts. I've been doing shorts now, and I've been taking it to like talk about 0E a little bit, just like little tidbits, little sections of 0E, and my interpretation of it, and linking it to chainmail and stuff like that. Like, that's what my shorts are about, and they're actually doing pretty well because I want to talk about games. I really want to elevate the level of discussion around games as a designer, but like as someone who just loves these games, and you just can't get it. Like, I hate when I say, for instance, hey, I really like running 0E with chainmail. I got a lot of grief from Griff from Secrets of Blackmore. Like, he was in my replies. I made a video about it. He was in my comment section, like, just spurging out about how bad that is. And I'm like, it literally says in the book, like, right here, it's like right there in the book, chainmail, miniatures rules, latest edition. It's right there in the rules, man. Like,
nice.
What? Why are you spurging out on me? I don't understand. And I'm at a point where I'm sick of that. So,
yeah, I don't blame you.
So the only way forward, I feel like, someone in the comment section said that you have to kind of restructure a movement. I don't even want to do that. I don't want to be a leader of a movement. I don't want any of that stuff. Like,
well, you're being accused of being one anyway, because apparently the Gilded server is like a horrible cult that all of us are in lockstep with you, and we agree with everything you say, like you're, the dictator of the OSR or whatever. Meanwhile,
I need to get back on the Gilded.
Yeah, well, meanwhile, it's like constant arguing. There's like 4 admins, and like I think you and Crossface are probably the closest to each other, like in ideology as far as the gaming goes. Greg and me are fairly different from you guys. So
you're more moderate. Greg is like he's the
he's the realm weaver,
and
I'm the
which is fine. For as much as I talk about it, like I respect Greg's game. Like the way he plays this game. Like,
I would love to be in a Greg Railroad.
Yeah, I'll let Greg run a train on you. No,
Do we
I
need
would
to ask
play.
Frank first? What's going on here?
Yeah.
I would play one of Greg's games. So it's like these people,
Yeah.
like we are more open-minded to games and ideas than a lot of these people that are in our replies are. I got a super chat though here. I got to get to it from Dark Knight of Hibernia.
Yeah.
Hard games create good players. Good players create great games. Great games create weak players. Weak players ruin the hobby.
So somehow you read that perfectly, but you can't read like just a normal super chat.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like the opposite. I'm like, what does that say? Just like one of those word riddles.
It's funny you say that, Immortal Rising, because way back in high school, 25 years ago, Frank said, "My goal in life will be to marry a hot goth girl," and he
Ooh.
did, and they've been married ever since. They've been married for like 20 years.
Nice.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Good for them.
There's a call that chainmail's preferred method of doing combat, the alternative system, was considered less useful. We're having a big debate about that, both like on Twitter and or X and on the guild server about that. I'm in the alternative combat system. It can replace everything that chainmail does because I've literally done it, but in my games. But I think that they're given two paths, and the reason why I go the alternative combat system is because not every creature is on the fantasy combat table in chainmail. But every creature does have AC, so I end up having to homebrew a whole lot less if I use the alternative combat system. So, and I'm not that I'm anti-homebrew, but like I said earlier, like this is one of those experimental things. And I think this is what I appreciate about the Bro SR and those guys, is that they look at the rules and this is after me, like, again, I had a argument with them, big argument with them back in like 2020 or 2021. A lot of us did.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not that I come around and I'm Bro SR now, but I've come around to this idea. I've always had an open mind of like, what happens when you do X and Y? What kind of game does it produce? And I'm tired. It would be a lot cooler and a lot more productive for the hobby if we could have like honest discussion about that kind of stuff instead of taking it personally because you think someone else is trying to like one up you on game knowledge. Like that's not what's happening. Stop making D&D your personality. You'll have a lot more fun at it if you just have fun at it.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds like fighting words. No.
Yeah. I also just wish it was about what's actually said in the book. We could have discussions based on that, kind of like a lingua franca, rather than like you said earlier, immediately like, oh, this is my homebrew, and if you don't like it, then you're an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was whipped into shape. I was whipped into shape by my table to like, cause they're rule lawyers, and they would call me on my bullshit. They're like, "Well, where's that in the book?" I'm like, "Fuck your book." And then of course, over time, it's like, yeah, I mean, they're there for a reason. Just fucking do it. And then I also don't have to think of shit or come up with dumb answers. You know, it's like, well, here it is. Rules is written. You know.
Yeah. I love rules lawyers, and I feel like in 3E was like the last game where it was like you had players really caring about what the rules say. You know. Yeah. Because they want to maximize their ability to do stuff, right? And so they're building characters, they're doing these things, and you know, after that, maybe 4E, but 4E was so disliked too that like it didn't really get a chance because it wasn't really D&D. But
I like rules lawyers that will also point out rules that aren't in their benefit. It's like, oh, actually, no. If this happens, then I should have died. Like, sorry, I should have taken this much damage instead of like the lesser damage that you said. Yeah. I like those rules lawyers. I don't like the rules lawyers that will only try to manipulate rules because they're like min-maxing and all that stuff.
Yeah, in their favor.
I've heard people argue that like the people that will point out rules in their benefit, but also not in their benefit, they're just pointing out the rules. Those people aren't technically rules lawyers. Yeah. Rules lawyers are people that are always trying to argue it in their favor.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And the home brewers, nobody has ever said like, we think that's dumb because we want you can't do that at your table. Like, we're not telling people they can't do that at their table. We're telling people that they're stupid. There's a difference. And it's like Macros's story for Acts 2 about asking for feedback about the gladiator class. And the guy was like, oh, it's just way too overpowered. Oh, so, well, what makes you say that? Well, we changed the hit point rules because we didn't think he had got enough hit points, so we gave him more hit points, and we changed this, we changed that, and like Macros is like, and there you go. That's such.
So you
he didn't even follow the rules in the book. Like they changed everything and homebrewed it, and then decided that it sucked. Like
and you see that a lot with rules. Like, and I hate when I've talked about this before. You have people come up with things like we see this with 5e a lot because a lot of people don't read their 5e books. Man, like it sucks that 5e doesn't have morale, and it's like, no, actually, it does have morale.
Yeah.
It does have hirelings. It's in the PHB and it's in the DMG. At 5e, it actually does have that. You can have hirelings. You can, if you wanted to, you could take it in that war game route still. So I hate that sort of stuff.
Well, I hate when they're like, well, it doesn't have morale, and you're like, well, actually it does, and then they're like, well, it's not like BX, so I don't like it. It's like, well, that's a completely different argument.
Quit moving goalposts. What happened is you're embarrassed that you got called out because you didn't read your rule book. That's what happened. We got a super chat here from Tristan Dorton for $10. Thank you. Hey, Basic Expert. Cowpunchers has been very inspiring in my GMing experience. I've gotten into Frontier Scum recently and embraced OSR ideas. Thanks for being awesome. Your work is inspiring. Thanks. Wow, I appreciate that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for the $10 too.
Yeah.
I like kettle kickers or whatever it's called.
Kettle kicker.
That's your off-brand version.
Yeah.
Tipping.
It's my retro clone.
For my new Sword and Wizardry game, I used the Strength Open Door chart for listening checks with Wisdom and Secret Doors for Int, as my region is only human. That makes sense. That's cool. I love human-centric stuff. There needs to be more human-centric stuff out there.
Yeah,
I think human-centric stuff is cool.
I think it gets overlooked. I don't know, like at my table, a lot of times I'll just default to I'm human fighter. I don't mind with that. And anyways, like, and somebody else would be like, just stacking this on top of that, and to make and then enter this unique race on top of it. It's like, what's wrong with just doing human fighter with all these feats, and then feat tree into whatever you want to do, but hey, it's cool. But yes, humans, I don't think they get enough respect in circles. It's like, no, I've got a tiefling. It's like, okay, all right.
Crafty Matt for $5. RTFM, which is now trying to be taken from me by a child-hating divorce goblin who kills any show he happens to be on, and I know exactly who you're talking about. He's probably watching.
Kills any show. Who could that be?
Cattle Kickers uses AD&D 2E as a base. There you go.
Cattle Kicker.
I was AFK for a moment, but the human only thing, like a lot of people that like defend all the different races, and I also like elves. I don't even mind tieflings. I was actually a big fan of tieflings in like the original Planescape setting and all that stuff. But they're like, oh well, a human only is boring. Okay, you're telling me that the Conan setting, that Hyboria is boring? Like, no, like you can make human only like really awesome too.
Yeah. Well, like in 3.5, you can feat tree into anything as just a basic fighter.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I like it.
They say stuff like that, and then they try to introduce some races to make it not boring, and their races are the same as humans. So it's
just with a different skin color. It's like, well, I'm human, but I'm pink.
They didn't solve any problems at all.
Well, because they want some of the innate abilities, right? Like they want a little extra magic here and there. It's like, I guess.
Yeah, they play these characters. It's just like, I'm pink with horns and a horse cock, but otherwise I'm pretty much just human. So.
Oh shit! Yeah. No, it's because they all want dark vision. Let's be serious.
Yeah,
I've got dark vision. Well, fuck you too. How about that?
That is probably my main gripe about 5th edition. Everything having dark vision. But go ahead, John.
Say in 0E, no one has any dark vision or infravision. You're just screwed in the dark. Even dwarves, elves, no one. Monsters have it, but they lose it if they switch sides and serve you. So.
Well, that's what Shadowdark is too. That's literally why it's called Shadowdark.
It's like a mythical underworld.
Yeah. Oh,
started-
actually,
Oh shit.
I actually I got a complaint about my rat folk race, and a DM is like, they should have dark vision. I'm like, no, they shouldn't. Rats actually are blind in the dark, like worse than humans. Not many people realize that.
that would actually be interesting, like way more interesting. And I've actually done that with some of the homebrew shit I've done. Like giveaways, like enhanced smell or hearing or something. Like
Yeah.
don't just default to the boring old dark vision. Be like, hey, they can use their perception checks to like really sniff out something within like 120 feet or like whatever you want to do. Like that's way more interesting than just like plain old everyone can see in the dark.
All right, guys, I'm gonna have to check out of the stream.
All right.
Oh,
See you, Greg.
all right. See you soon, Greg.
Yep, thanks for having me on.
But I'm just, I'm willing at this point. Like I think the way forward for me personally is I'm just going to be mean and cruel and villainous.
Yes, embrace the arc.
To the people that deserve it, which means I'm actually not being that villainous, I think. But
like the Punisher. Think of it as the Punisher role, right?
Yeah.
There's already narratives going around that nobody actually ever tried to cancel us. We're just like mean girls, and we actually started everything.
Well, I have
whatever.
I have that video. Pundit didn't do nothing. If you don't believe me, go watch that video. All it is Pundit doing Tai Chi on a roof, and all of his tweets laid over it. So. The things he said, and then a little bit of commentary of me at the end. So,
Okay, so the conspiracy theory that the Shadow Dark chick Kelsey paid you guys to do all of this—that's not true, huh?
I have a bag of money, Shadow Dark money behind me. So,
no, it's not true. By the way, have you seen my new motorcycle?
But I really want to see the hobby get back on track. I'd love to see people talk about rules and discussions and systems and actually like have in-depth discussion on these things.
See, and I don't know, is it the politics in the air? It's so thick, with the election year and the craziness going on in just daily life that it's carrying over in these other things. I feel powerless over here, but over here I can tweet a fucking paragraph about nothing important, but I can still be mean and take it out. You know what I mean? Like take out my frustrations. I don't know. I think some of that's going on.
I think so. I think it's just the brain rot of overly politicized everything, and it's reached the point where like even those totally based people on the right are like having the same sort of brain rot at this point. You focus on the negative, you stare into the void. It's going to affect you at some point. That's just how these things work. You are
what's up, JJ. Sorry. Saw somebody in the chat. What's up, JJ? Thanks for that.
That name made me sad because I knew a guy named Trujillo or Trujillo, whatever to pronounce it, who was a good friend who died.
Well, that's really taking the wind out of it. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Just wanted to add a little bit of sadness to the stream.
Yeah, pouring out for old Trujillo.
But I just want the hobby to get back to talking about games, and I think maybe unless you guys have anything else to add, we bitched about it enough. I want to give you, Aaron, a chance to talk about your campaign here. Let me switch over to here. All right, and so it might be a little out of the purview of some of my viewers here, but I think also there's some overlap too. People like comics. So and you mentioned your comic is based on your campaign.
Yes,
things that have happened in your campaign.
Yeah, it is very I wouldn't say very loosely, but it is loosely based on my homebrew world that I've been playing for, I don't know, 20 or 30 years or something crazy like that. So I took asked my table, hey, I'm writing our story, where should I start? And they were all like, oh, you need to start at what we call the calling, and that was the first issue. And then now this is kind of which is basically what's unique about this is that the setting is kind of like Castlevania and Final Fantasy together. So you've got undead, like there's a world with undead lords, you're going to see zombies. Eventually there will be werewolves, stuff like that. But on top of that is the meta story where you can see the gods interacting kind of like Clash of the Titans style. And you watch them as the big bad guy is doing, he's like looking for this, his lost artifact that'll help them win the war against the good guys, right? So that's the conflict that spurs the whole story. And you kind of see it all come together on this one planet of Terra, a human planet. Well, it's humans and lizardmen, but no elves and stuff. Well, the main character is an elf. He comes from a world of elves, like a fantasy world with elves. And him and a few others are transported to this world of Terra. And and they have to, it's like, what is it? 5 strangers fated to, to be stuck together to survive in a war of monsters in a battle against monsters in a war of the gods. So it's pretty epic. And it's 2 stories in one. You've got the main story is the first level party kind of story, and then the higher level, it's like 10 pages, it's the higher like 20th level god level characters. And you get to see how everything is kind of swirling around. So like the god level characters are like, what the hell is going on? We need to assemble the men, figure out, what's truly going on, and then, take action from there. Whereas like the first level guys are like, holy shit, they're like covering their head, bombs are going off or whatever, and monsters are attacking them. And over that, they have to, just like in any other D&D party, they have to overcome each other's differences, and as well as while they're surviving in a new, a foreign land surrounded by monsters, So it is going to be an ongoing story, or I should say series, but the initial story will be 3 books. So in this campaign, you're getting the first act and the second act. So
nice.
The third one is actually all the layouts and sketches are done. It's just waiting for enough cash to get to the coloring stage. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think that kind of stuff is cool.
Well, I think it helps for the people who don't get to play regular D&D. Maybe you like the anime manga style, and of my artist Jose. And so, like, hey, I'm feeling like I want to go into a D&D world. I can't get anybody to play today or tonight or this week or whatever. This book will help you feel like you are. Well, like for instance, Diversity and Dragons, he bought it and read it. He was like, it feels like the beginning of a great D&D campaign, and that's exactly the way that I wanted it to feel. Supposed to be Japanimation style. Yeah, it's supposed to be. I was kind of as I was writing, I wanted to feel like a fantasy novel in a comic book. Yeah. And I think I did a decent job of it. So unique setting. Some likable characters, some hateable characters, and a very interesting plot. So, there's quite a bit going on. And the first one is kind of you get dropped into this world setting. It feels lived in. So not everything necessarily is going to make sense. But as it goes on, nothing mentioned is thrown away. Nothing mentioned is just as decoration. Everything will have its place over time. So it's really fun and interesting to get into. Getting a lot of really good reviews. So
awesome.
And if you're not into the story for some reason, the art, I mean, can carry this book by itself, really. There's the trailer if you want to play that, kind of catch up people on the general story, or just go through. I've got a bunch of pages as examples. So
let me make sure I got audio. Okay, I think I do. Oh no, let's see if it plays.
I'll find you, Locutus, my creator. From your chaotic bones I shall make my order. Congratulations, recruits.
I'm so excited.
I don't want to babysit 2 spoiled princes. I need to make a good impression of the soldiers. This is a silly waste of time.
What? Is that my long-lost magic ruby? Empress, find my ruby.
Your will is my command, my master. We're invading Terra to find Balmain's ruby.
Go forth, save the innocent, and punish the wicked. Yes, Father. I have an easy life. But is that all there is?
The ruby could win this war once and for all. Let's kick the nest and see what falls out.
Locutus calls to his creations for help.
Where are we?
What are those things? We have to get out of here.
Have the gods gone mad?
The Bomanites have invaded Terra. Has the last shard of Locutus' heart been found?
The war cannot continue without the heart. We can't risk losing it if it's there.
You've come to the wrong place. Terra is under my protection.
Well,
Oh
cool,
yeah.
man.
Nice.
Thank you.
How long was your campaign? Like, how long has your campaign been going that it's based on?
Oh geez. Well, this world has been I mean, since I was a young teenager. So
Wow.
I guess 40 something now, is like 30 years. Yeah. Been this homebrewed world has been played off and on for about 30 years. So now where we are, like this part of happened in the game at this point probably 15 20 years ago. So this part has happened quite a bit ago, but so which is kind of cool because I already know like everything or everywhere that everything that influences these characters, like from the beginning to either their quick demise or their triumphant ending. So I already have nothing will be left up to, oh well, I don't know what to do with this guy or whatever. So it's all been figured out, thankfully. And yeah, I apologize for the potato audio there, Dark Knight.
That might have been something with StreamYard. I got to find a better way to do it because sometimes it feels like we did this once a while back where I think we had like a video with music or something like that, and it sounded like it did sound good. I don't know if it's something on my end or
what.
I
had it redone. I had the audio redone. I have not put the new video up that redid the audio. So because it was changed, and I kind of like the video aspect of this one a little bit better. But what can you do?
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yes,
well,
that is a Corey Barton cover, Planet Tobor. That is very true. He did the cover of this campaign, for number 1. And that's that's the Empress. And then the cover for number 2 was done by Marvel artist Jimmy Reyes.
Cool.
Oh yeah, which Victor.
That's the name I was trying to think of before the stream.
And then everything else is with the main artist Jose Garcia. And actually there's 2 things. If you get the everything box, there are 2 Ashcan short stories. Makes it more indie. Hey, yeah, there you go. I like that, Randy. Thank you for that. But there's 2 side stories. One is it's if you scroll down just a little bit, it's a black and white story. Yeah, at the bottom there. One is a black and white story. It's like a future dystopian kind of thing, where the last 2 humans are living in a world that was overtaken by a nanotech virus. And unfortunately, the girlfriend has contracted it as well. And so they go to this tower where this scientist who allegedly created this virus once lived, and they're there looking for a cure. So, and that's called The Tower That Time Forgot. That was actually in an anthology for Arrow Comics. So now I'm actually going to just sell it myself. And then the one next to it, Immortal Rising Tales, that was in Anvil Magazine number 2. That one's about 8 pages, and that one is in Immortal Rising universe, but it has nothing to do with the story, the main story. So it's a one shot kind of off deal, where a magical warrior goes in on a cult of vampires and finds out that there's a little girl who's been kidnapped. He's able to rescue the girl's body, but her spirit has been taken. And so by either the cult or something else. And so he goes into the spirit world, where things are a little bit tougher than you expected. So
Hmm.
super cool. And
like a mythical underworld. Sorry, I'm gonna keep hammering that home.
I was
very much like that.
Like a mythical
But,
underworld.
Yeah.
What's
So
that?
I would say
Nobody
if
ever
this
uses
looks
that.
if this looks interesting at all to your viewers, then please go to the Indiegogo, take a look at the perks. I mean, I'm practically selling these for cost. So all I'm mainly interested in is getting new readers, people that are that like the anime kind of style, and also like high fantasy like this, you know. And with the D&D players, I mean, I think it'll be right up your guys' alley. So please go check me out.
Yeah, I threw I'll throw the link to the Kickstarter in there. Chat
Like
again.
the premium for one of the premiums is like $20 plus shipping. You know, for two of them it's $35. So you get both the first issue and the second issue premiums. The premiums are like 50 pages, 80-pound gloss, perfect bound. You know, so they're very, very nice looking books. And yeah, those two there, you can get those two together for $35 plus shipping. So
nice.
Cool. Well,
sure is, buddy.
Man, thanks for that. Hey, what's up, Yang? We're finishing up here, but thanks
up,
for
Yang?
popping in. He was on or Zhang, he was on last week about his Kickstarter. You should go check out his cool. He has a neat 5e setting he's working on.
So he will actually be on the show that I'm on Friday nights. It's at 10 o'clock Eastern. He'll be on, I think, the 13th. So Greg will be on actually the 6th. He'll be on the 13th, and it's a super fun show. Go check out my YouTube channel. You'll see some of them. I'm new to them. Like they're an established show who somebody left, and so they asked me to come in. And yeah, it's funny. Like we spend at least half the show joking around. Like we'll pick out like say 3 topics, 3 articles. We try to make as many jokes about it as we can, and then we give the guests time to talk about what they're trying to sell. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe once Modern Necessities is fully done, I'll because you asked me if I wanted to be on before.
Yeah,
I'll have to make time because I think it's like 4 a.m. or something like my time. So
for you,
I gotta prepare for it. But yeah,
well, and I understand because there's an indie comics guy who lives in the Netherlands, Dave Brink, and asked him.
That's a very Dutch name.
It's super late for him. So like I think he had to cancel once or something. I think it was right before I joined the crew. But
that's such a Dutch name that it's very close to the name of the little boy that put his finger in the dike, Hansje Brink.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He's super cool. Like I guess getting you two on the same stream would be a treat.
We would just start talking Dutch at each other like the whole stream, and I was like, what?
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. We'll start ending it here. I think it's unfortunate that we have to feel this way about other people in the hobby because it's such a small space. But at the same time, like I'm done tolerating terrible people.
We didn't start it. That's the thing. We didn't.
That's the thing. We didn't start it.
I was trying to be cool with everyone, and people decided they weren't cool with me or with you. So hey.
So it is what it is. But I encourage everyone to check out Aaron's Indiegogo here. A link is in the chat. I'll add links to your stuff in the video description after we get off air here.
Thank you.
And links to Vic's channel. I think I tagged Vic. I think I did. And I think I tagged Greg. If I didn't, I will. Check out their channels. Vic, is there anything you want to tell people about? You have anything that you'd like to update?
Nothing special. Like I've been saying for the last few streams, hopefully Modern Necessities will be done soon. It's in layout right now. It's about halfway done, maybe a little bit more by now.
Yeah.
So hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll be able to offer the PDF to people, and then after that, the print-on-demand versions. And yeah, I'm still working on all the stretch goals basically. But
yeah, you've shown me some stuff you've been working on. It seems pretty cool. So. For me, I'm still trying. I need to get back to working on Atomic Punk. I feel kind of drained working on it. at that point. Like I'm so close to being done, but I'm at the point of illustrating all the monsters, and I just don't want to do it. It's very tiresome.
Yeah.
It's not as fun as like the other drawing the other stuff.
What do you use for inspiration for the art?
Atomic Punk is like Fallout with the serial numbers filed off. I don't know. I watched a lot of 1950s like bad sci-fi movies.
There we go.
Like, some of those monsters, or like I just look at video games and stuff like that, or I just like think of something and it's creepy and weird. So
fair enough.
You know. What is this here? Is there? Wait, where can I get copies of the? It's an Aztec one. I have just a few more of these to get out to backers. There's a few people that like, for some reason, they didn't want to get their books. They didn't give me their address when I asked them to fill out the Kickstarter. So I have to get their proper address from them. Once I'm certain that like all those books are out, I plan on opening it up for sale for people to buy this version, probably at a higher price than what the Kickstarter people got, because that seems only fair. But you will be able to get it if you want. So working on some stuff as well that I can't really talk about, or I don't want to talk about just yet, and it's still in its early brooding phases. But I think we'll end it here, though. I think the way forward is just to have a zero tolerance policy for absolute losers, and tell people to not be dicks, I guess.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, guess what? You're a loser too.
Yep. Shadowdark is not a perfect game. I'm not going to say it's a perfect game. I'm not going to say that it's an amazing thing. It's a good game.
Yeah. It does what it says on the tin.
It does what it says, and it does it pretty good. It says pretty good. And the people that are upset about it, I think, are just coping, and they're losers.
The rest.
Yeah. We talked about it. But thanks everyone for watching. We'll end this stream here, and we'll catch you guys on the next stream. I don't know who will be on or what it'll be about, but we'll catch you guys next time.
Go play some games, guys.
Dag iedereen.